Danielle Cook is a professional nutritionist and cooking instructor, and Adrienne Cook is a gardening and cooking writer. We're excited to have them with us today for our live cooking demonstration. Please help me welcome Danielle and Adrienne. Woohoo!
Thank you, Libby, and hello, everyone.
Hi,
I'm Danielle Cook,
and I'm Adrienne.
and this is my sister, Adrienne. We are the Cook Sisters, and that is our name, and that is what we do. So we're very pleased to be with you today to bring to you, as you can see, a bounty of herbs and vegetables for summertime. So we have a couple of recipes.
This could almost be an herb demo, but what we're demoing is beans, and
we're doing beans and cucumbers, but we're actually doing lots of summer vegetables.
Yes, we are.
Two great recipes to be able to use up a lot of what's going on in the gardens and in the farmers markets today. We love this because this is mostly from our gardens.
Yes,
from
the two of us.
Yes. So we're going to be happily using those in our dishes today. Okay. But we're actually, it does look like we're standing in an herb garden, doesn't it? It's crazy.
Nursery.
Yeah. So we have been presenting around the DC, Washington, DC metropolitan area for many, many years.
And we love the USBG most of all. It's just been such a treat to be here.
Yeah.
So we're very happy to have you guys join us.
And I know you're coming from far and wide. So welcome to all of you from all the corners of the US and beyond. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our two recipes. The first one we're going to do is our Fiesta green bean salad. And I'm going to actually switch over to an overhead camera so you can get a better view of what we're doing. When we get through this recipe, we will take questions. Libby will be fielding questions. If you have questions, please put them in the chat box. I believe that's correct. And if not, she can jump in there and make that correction. We'll answer questions as we go along. We'll also have a moment to be able to pause and kind of regroup between moving into the second recipe, our cucumber salad. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on our countertop.
Yeah, there we go.
Lots of great stuff. So as I said, we're going to start with the Fiesta green bean salad. And I've got some beautiful green beans here that we're going to work with. Now, this is a fabulous salad to do if you can use up a different colored green beans. So if you've got access to yellow, the purple ones will turn green after they're cooked, but yellow and green, these yellow beans and green beans are really a fabulous way a great thing to use in this salad. So that said,
as colorful as possible.
Exactly, yep. As colorful as possible. So these are French fillet beans that I did not grow these, but I have been growing them all summer. I'm in between crops, so I love these, but you could use also the flat Italian beans. That would be fine. So these have been washed and prepped. And the way I prep them, because they're so thin, you don't need to take a lot of people take the little tips, the tail end off, but you really just need to make sure they're clean from where they were connected to the vine. So I always leave the tips on. So with that, I'm going to just cut these into about thirds. So you want pieces that are going to be about, an inch.
Bite size.
Well, bite size is a little too small. I like to have them a little bit bigger than bite size. Let me use my big cleaver here. So I like to have them about this size, which is more than it's like a big bite, I guess you could call it. I'm just going to do this pretty roughly. And then they're going to be plunged into boiling water, and they're going to be cooked this depends on the thickness of the bean, but you will need to cook them from anywhere, if they're very, very thin, only a couple of minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. Wouldn't you say, Adrienne?
I would say 3 to 4. And then these ones probably are going to go 5, maybe. Was that what we?
Yeah, between 5 and 7 minutes.
Yes.
And you want to check them I would say we'll check them after 5 minutes and make sure that you want them crisp tender. So sort of al dente. So there we've got that. This is the right size. But
you don't want them tasting like they're raw. I mean, you definitely want to get them past that stage.
And you also don't want them tasting like they're too soft.
Right.
Because I will plunge them under cold water and then pat them dry. So I'm going to step out and do that. And I want Adrienne to take over here and get the dressing for this great salad going.
Salad dressing.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do, let's see, we're going to start with, let me see this. It's right here. 1 teaspoon of finely chopped red onion. Okay, so it's not, obviously there's a full red onion, but this is all you need is 2 tablespoons of this.
A couple tablespoons of onion. So we're using red onion in a couple ways in this. We're going to use it chopped up in the dressing. And we're also going to use a little bit more when we get around to assembling the salad.
And then we're going to put a little lime juice in it. This is actually the juice from a half a lime. We had some very nice limes today from, I know you won't be able to find these at the farmer's market, but these are a nice, beautiful lime, and it's yielding 2 tablespoons per half, which is more than most limes do.
Those are pretty juicy.
Yes, they are. They are. And then 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
That's one, and there's another.
And a little pinch of sea salt, about a half a teaspoon of sea salt.
That's right here.
If you don't have this red onion, you could use shallots in this, and then you could use a different kind of onion in the salad as well. You could use scallions but the red onion is so pretty. It really adds color and, of course, flavor.
Okay, now we're going to add.
You need some fresh chopped oregano.
Yep.
Which is from my garden.
Okay, so here's the oregano right here, right in front of us.
Beautiful, huh?
Yeah, it's lovely. And we're just going to chop this real quick.
So talk to us a bit about how you like to do this. You get them off the stem?
Yes, I take it off the stems. And I don't bother with stemming them further than that, because these little tiny stems aren't really stems. They're just little attachments to the leaf. And then I'll take a knife and just chop them like this. You could also do them in a little mini prep, but you're going to have to do a lot more than this to get what you need, because the mini prep will prep just a little bit. So here we've got, but it doesn't take long to just do this, and it doesn't have
it smells amazing.
Yeah.
So the difference between fresh and dried, what would you say to that?
Well, we're putting quite a bit of the fresh in there. If you're going to use dried, you probably only need to use about 1 to 2 teaspoons. But we're going for the fresh, which gives it a really nice verdant flavor, like sort of not, I wouldn't say grassy, but it just tastes fresh, and I think
Absolutely.
You're probably familiar with that flavor when you've got something fresh in there. You're like, oh, this tastes like it just got picked.
That's right.
And that's what the fresh oregano does. It's a little different flavor, although it brings the oils, the essential oils in either way. So it will taste of oregano, but
it's a really different flavoring.
It is. Okay.
So I've got some cilantro. We need to chop that up.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on in this salad, and it's not just about green beans. I mean, I think you guys would enjoy having this, making this, because there's a number of ingredients, but if you're missing some of them, that's okay too.
Right.
You just can punt.
Exactly.
We're all about punting here.
And there's a lot of mint out at this time of the year, because it's the middle of summer, and that's when they love to just take off. So if you don't have cilantro and you want to use something, you could definitely throw in mint. I do that a lot. I also use basil instead of mint, or instead of cilantro.
Mm-hmm.
They're all kind of flavorings and what are we talking about here? Did we say quarter cup?
Quarter cup. Yep. So this is a very flavorful salad dressing.
Okay, and there's no more. Okay, so that's it. It's going to be.
Now you're going to go on to your jalapeno. So
that's the final thing. Yes.
Yeah. So it's a thick kind of dressing, and we're gonna.
So we're using pickled jalapenos. We opted to go that route. You could definitely use just a regular fresh jalapeno if you like them hot and spicy, like a little spice in it. The pickled ones are nice. I'm going to use this one that's got a little piece off the end so that we can just chop it up. And this will make it spicy, but it gives it a really nice flavor too. So it depends on how much you like spicy or super spicy. And I would suggest that you just take a a little taste of the end of this thing.
Definitely. That's a good piece of advice. Make sure you
try
taste
this
it.
one.
You should always taste when you're dealing with these spices, the heat
This is
factor.
quite hot.
Woohoo! Andale.
And so I would put it, I think I'd probably put in, it's calling for
One whole minced one or a third of a cup, depending on how spicy they are. So let's talk about this for a second. These pickled jalapenos versus fresh. So in both cases, if one way to reduce the heat factor is to eliminate or scoop out the seeds.
Yes.
But you're not going to do that because you love hot stuff.
Well, the other thing, I'm taking the part here, this is the part that has the least seeds in it, which was the very end where I started.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go ahead and do this and pop them in, and then leave these that are cut here just for a minute. We'll do a little.
You want to taste?
Yeah, do we have a spoon handy? I don't think I've got one.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. Just taste that. I think it'll be enough, honestly, because, thank you. Here we go.
Good.
It is. I think it needs a little bit more
Olive oil
and a little bit more salt.
So I like the pickled jalapenos because they're pickled and they've got a little bit of that vinegar flavoring too to it.
Yeah, that's
and
a very good point.
It's a very different taste profile than fresh. I mean, fresh is great. They're cleaner. They're like clearly, hot jalapeno pepper. But the pickled ones get, there's a depth of flavor to them. And of course, the vinegar then adds another component.
Yeah, and it does. In this particular case, it doesn't override the lime juice, which you'd want to be careful of if you're using a lot of pickled things, because you don't want to bury the lime, because it's got a nice strong lime flavor right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and finish up with the next little bit of pickled jalapeno here and put those last two slices in. I think it's just fine, because once it gets mixed with everything else that's going to be in the salad, you're not really going to have that much of a strong flavor of the heat. So there we are. That's ready to go.
Can I just butt in there for just a second?
Yes, you certainly can.
Okay, our green beans are looking great. They're al dente. They're bright. They have not changed color. And that was all of like 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put those into the strainer.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to cut up these tomatoes.
Oops. We're going to have
everything ready here.
Okay.
Here we go. We're using obviously the little tomatoes today, the cherry tomatoes. They're incredibly sweet this year. Have you noticed that, Danielle?
Yes.
That they're just remarkably sweet. I don't know whether it has something to do with the weather, the fact that it was so hot, or whether it actually has to do with the fact that there's so many wonderful new varieties. You want me to put them right in there?
I need to have a little space so our viewers can see what we're doing here.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got our beautiful green beans. And Adrienne's going to add, can you work with that and just keep cutting there?
Absolutely.
Okay, and then we're building flavor. So we're going to do the tomatoes. And then we're also going to do, once she's done with that, I'm going to show you some, do some corn. I'm going to get all the kernels off the cob of the corn.
Do you want to go ahead and do that while I get over here and cut?
Yeah. We want to switch around? Okay. That's a good idea. So I have this beautiful corn from market. I mean, everything is just so abundant right now, right? I mean, this is, like I said in the outset, this is just a wonderful way of combining all these great summer ingredients. So I boiled this for just a couple of minutes, about 3 or 4 minutes, and then put it under cold water and let it cool down. And Adrienne and I have different ways of getting the kernels off a cob. She likes to get a bowl and a towel and a this and a that, and I couldn't be bothered. I just go at it. But the one thing that I do show people is that instead of starting at the top to do this, where you're hanging on to the top of the cob and potentially injure yourself, I start in the middle of the cob and I just go straight down. And if you haven't done this before, you got to go at a certain angle. If you cut in too deep into the cob, you're not going to go anywhere. So you're just kind of going at an angle and straight down. This is actually a really good teaching moment for children who have some knife skills, because it's a good thing to introduce them to. It allows them to really get control of the knife and the food. And since you're cutting away from yourself, chances are very slim that you're going to cause an injury. But I do it from the middle, and then you turn it around. Now you've got a nice handle to grip from that end as well. And the other thing that I do is I make sure that I lob off the end of the of each end, so you have a fairly stable surface on which to rest. So that's all gonna. So one ear of corn usually yields about a cup of corn. This will go into my compost, and that goes right in there.
And we'll finish putting the tomatoes in. Look at all these different shapes and sizes.
Yep.
Of the cherry tomatoes.
Absolutely.
So
beautiful.
This is a lovely, lovely time to be using these. And of course, if you've got plenty of the larger tomatoes, you're just going to cut them up in chunks so that they're about the same general size.
Yeah.
Volume.
Yeah. I've got a couple of them like these. See if I can show you this colors. This is a beautiful sort of a peach apricot hue. So the more color you can get into this, obviously the better it is. And then I'll break these down a bit. And then we're going to need, to finish this off, we're going to need some avocado. You want to jump back over here?
Okay.
Work on the avocado. I'm going to go ahead and dress the salad.
Okay. Here's our avocado. Let me just cut it straight, as you probably all have done before once upon a time. And there's the two halves. Now, what I like to use, I've actually got an avocado knife at home, which I didn't bring with me, but it's got that sort of a little bend up this way, like this. So it sort of goes, it almost goes up like this, and you can just get it in here, and it keeps the knife away from the avocado, but at the same time gets it to slide right under. But this one's doing a pretty good job. So a regular, a dinner knife, a knife that would go on the table, generally works as long as it's not a steak knife. Let me grab this.
Yep.
And then we're just going to cut it in chunks.
Look at
and you got to use this right away, because if you don't, as you probably know, it's going to start getting dark. So you need to add your acid-based dressing, or just some lemon juice.
Yep.
Or anything that has this sort of a citrusy thing going on, lemon, lime, even orange, but lemon juice really works well. And you can use white vinegar also. Okay, here we go. There's a little piece right there we don't want. And I think that's probably about right?
Yep, I think that's plenty. Yeah, I don't think we even need all that.
Got a couple of pieces.
This
here.
is a meal in itself. There is so much going on here. Okay,
and we want to finish off.
We want to finish off with some nice chunk of feta cheese. Okay, so for people who don't want it, here, go ahead and crumble that in there. People who don't do dairy, that's fine. Of course, you can see as we've been going along with all these ingredients, you can see how you might
adjust to whatever it is that you prefer, or what you have on hand.
Yes.
These are pretty flexible recipes. I mean, you can.
Well, that's the joy of cooking in summer. There's just so much to choose from.
That's right. And now we're going to put our onions. Oh, let me wipe my hands. A little bit of
a little extra chopped red onion on top.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, absolutely.
We got to get that color going. We've got the opportunity for more color in our diet in this time of the year, and we should take full advantage of it.
And you can amp up on the herbs too as well. You could do more cilantro if you're a big fan of that.
Definitely. Definitely. You can put plenty of cilantro in at the end if you want, or again, you can introduce basil if you want.
Can you hold that bowl up to the camera so they can give it
I was going to give
a little stir, and then everybody can see the beautiful colors that are in there. Look at that. That's just like a meal. The other thing you could do with this is you could add in some, do another bean. You could do a canned, white bean.
Yeah.
Cannellini.
Or a pinto bean.
Yeah, that would work too.
Yep.
Okay. So
There we are.
I'm
Okay.
going to switch it back to us so we can take some questions, or answer questions or comments or whatever you're thinking, whatever's on your mind out there.
Thank you all. We do have a few questions. One of them is, how do you know how to pick a good avocado at the grocery store?
That's a great question. A lot depends on how you like them. I know a lot of people who like really ripe avocados. They can basically make avocado butter out of them, and they just smush them down. That's how they use them. Then the other way to use them, obviously, is
how to pick them.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
But the other way to use them is in salads. So it's two different applications here. I mean, salads or by the half without using them as butter. So the overripe ones you'll see are probably, they're, when you touch them, they're gonna push in pretty hard, pretty much. You're gonna really feel it. And the place to feel it, since I cut it apart, it's kind of gonna be a little bit hard to tell. But the place to feel it is kind of at the very, very top. And again, at the very, very bottom.
You need to hold that up a little bit closer.
There we are.
No, not to that camera. To that camera.
Okay, so
we have
put
too
it
many
back
herbs.
together. I know we can move something. Anyway, so you just basically pinch them just slightly, push it in slightly at the bottom, and then if it's got a little bit of a give, it's probably ready to go ahead and take home, and you can use it maybe not the night of, but the next day, which is what I like to do. If you want one that's really ripe for the same night, for immediately, because they'll ripen overnight. It's amazing how quickly they'll ripen. I mean, you could pick a hard avocado and think that you're going to use it over the weekend, and it's Tuesday, and it'll be gone by Tuesday. You won't be able to use it because it'll be overripe. And so basically just pinch at the bottom, and if it's soft, if it gives a little bit, then you got a good one, and you can bring it home and probably use it the next night. And a lot of places they'll have like a little sign saying "Ready for use today." That's a pretty good, generally speaking.
Can I just add to that about the ripening?
Yeah.
So I know we all like to do these beautiful bowls of fruit and so forth, and throw everything together. And one of the things that ripens avocados very quickly is to set them next to bananas. Bananas are great at ripening a lot of different fruits. In fact, some, like peaches and the stone fruits in the summer, they are too good at ripening them. So you might have a peach that is in like almost perfectly ripe for the next day, and the next day it's too mushy because it's been sitting next to bananas. And bananas will help ripen avocados.
Good call. So next question?
We have someone who's wondering if they can use jardiniere, which is sort of that's pickled pepper sandwich topping instead of a pickled jalapeno. Any advice?
The pepperoncini ones? I think they're.
I would say in my homeland of Chicago, we called it jardiniere, but I'm sure the pepperoncini is another version of the same kind of dressing.
Use that instead of the pickled jalapeno? Is that what the question is?
That's what the question is. Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Well, I think if the jar that you're thinking of has a lot of different mixed pickled vegetables, is that like no, it's got well, there's two
cauliflower and there's sometimes carrots and there's
exactly, and there are pepperoncinis in there because you can get a jar of just pepperoncinis.
Yes, you could use those.
Yes, for sure.
Absolutely.
If you're talking about the mixed jar of different veggies that also contains some pepperoncini, I would avoid the cauliflower and the carrots. I would stick with the peppers.
For this particular salad.
Correct.
Don't avoid them for other things, like putting on sandwiches. Any other questions?
Yeah, we had one who said, regarding ripening, do apples have the same effect as bananas if you put them in a bag with other fruits?
They do. Exactly. It's the gas they release is what it is. And so it's any ripening fruit. So if don't put them in with you might be able to get a little oranges, I don't think would do it because they're usually pretty.
No, they're
not really exhuming a lot of gases. But yeah, apples, pears, anything that's ripening.
Yeah.
Will do that. So yeah. Okay.
And then Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's our last question was just can you use frozen vegetables like corn and beans?
You can.
Corn would work fine. I'm not sure about
The frozen beans are not going to have the same flavor as the fresh. I mean, right now this is the season for fresh, so that's what we would really encourage you to use.
But as you know,
yeah,
fresh beans are hard to find in the supermarket.
That's true. They really,
they really. So yeah, I mean, you could definitely go ahead and use a frozen bean. Or you could switch out the beans and get rid of the green beans and replace them with a white bean or
you've got some flexibility there with
a
that
pinto bean or something like that. So, or asparagus. That's the other thing you could do if you want to do it in the spring.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't done it with that, but that would certainly work.
Okay.
All right. So.
Okay. Thank you so much. We're ready for the next recipe.
Okay, let's go to it. We're going to go back to our overhead. And this time we are working with, we can get rid of that.
Get rid of this.
Clean up your mess here, Adrienne. Come on now.
Yeah, okay.
Come on.
Could have done that while we were talking.
Or just flip the cutting board over. That's fine too. So here's this is actually an adaptation from Yotam Ottolenghi. For those of you who are familiar, he is a London-based chef who's written numerous cookbooks, and he does this kind of cool thing with many variations of using cucumbers, which we're actually not going to do just this second because there's one step before that. But look at this funny thing that I got at the market. That it's twins, conjoined twin cucumbers. Yeah. We're working with Persian or burpless cucumbers today. But we're going to do this kind of a deconstructed version of raita or tzatziki. So both those recipes or those dishes use cucumbers and yogurt, and we are going to use that, but in a different format today. But the first thing you're going to want to do for this salad is to create some pickled onions. And for that, you're going to need some onion.
I'm going to get these off my...
That's why I said don't do that yet. Okay. You're going to slice up a little bit of onion.
Okay.
So you're going to do them into about one small red onion. That's a fairly medium-sized one.
Purple knife. I don't see the purple knife.
It's right here.
Oh, thank you.
To match your purple onion. Again, we're using red onion in this dish, and I do like this because for the flavoring and also for the color. So we want to get, again, throwing as much color into these salads as possible. So these little pickled onions are going to be these thin sliced onions. No, half moons.
Half moons. Okay.
What do I mean by a half moon, Adrienne?
Cut them in half.
Yep.
Like so. Okay, let's try this.
You having trouble with my knives?
Yep. Should work my own knives.
Okay, we're just going to do, for demo purposes, we're just going to do this half. This is going to be more than enough.
Okay.
And then you're going to go into half moons.
I think I'm going to try this.
Huh, that's interesting. I usually go the other way.
Oh, okay.
Because there are ridges that go that way, the way the onion grows.
So you grow it this?
No, like this. I go like this because these end up being.
Yeah, they open you. Oh, that way. Yeah, right.
And I follow the ridges
yep.
in the onion. The onion always has these little ridges.
2 ways to do half moons.
And we're related, and we do it differently. Who would have thought? Anyway, you can go back to either way.
Well, tell me how much you want.
I want you to pretty much do that whole whole chunk.
Okay.
Okay. So these nice little pickled onions, which are going to be tossed throughout our cucumber smashed salad, are also great just to have on hand. If you do a bunch of this and then have it in a container in the refrigerator, they hold up really well for 3 or 4 or 5 days, and you can find other uses for them.
Oh my God, I did them on grilled hamburgers.
Oh,
I made
yeah.
hamburgers and put the pickled onions that were in the refrigerator on top. I just pulled them out of the refrigerator. They'd been sitting in there for a couple of days and they were perfect.
Oh, they are.
They're so good. So that's a great use. Like if you do a lot of outdoor grilling, just a steak or a piece of chicken or anything, those pickled onions are such a great accompaniment to it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so it's a nice thing to keep on hand this time of the year, frankly. It really perks up. It also perks up stews in the wintertime. It's a really nice thing to have. Just says, keep it handy and make it yourself. Don't go out and buy pickled onions.
Okay. I don't know if you can see that, but that says sumac. Sumac is an ingredient that Ottolenghi is very fond of, and I also use a fair amount of it in Middle Eastern cuisine. So it's got this very deep red color. And there are different kinds of sumacs out there in that this is pure sumac. But if you buy sumac, you need to take a look at the labeling because a lot of them are half salt and half sumac.
And here's the thing about sumac. It's a great replacement for salt. So if you're looking for using less salt, don't go out and buy the sumac that has the salt in it. That's not going to help you. So I use it a lot as a replacer for salt, and it's reduced the amount of salt that I've been using tremendously.
So just like a pinch, like an eighth of a teaspoon, just a little bit to start drawing out the moisture in the
Okay.
So this one, you want half of this.
Oh, okay.
Literally just a little pinch. Okay. And then we do a tablespoon of the apple cider vinegar.
Okay.
A tablespoon. Go ahead.
I was going to not measure, but
I know you were not going to measure. That's why I made sure you're aware. Don't soak them. Don't soak them. You're not, you don't want to just like, go ahead and give it a stir. So that's the first step to this. If you're making this and you don't have time to let the onions sit, then that's okay too. I mean, they need to sit for at least 30 minutes. So think about it in those terms. I would recommend that
I'm going to bring these home with me.
Yeah, actually, that's a fair amount of onion. You may need a tad more vinegar.
See?
Okay, just a tad more.
Okay.
But I would say if you can make this ahead of time and just keep the pickled onions in your fridge because you'll use them. Trust me, you'll use them. Okay. Good.
So there we are. We got the sumac in there. You could actually put a little more sumac if you wanted to.
Yes. Now, should we talk about sumac for a second also?
Sure.
What does it taste like?
Well, it's lemony and kind of salty, and it's got a very pungent. I would say it would be like sucking a lemon, maybe.
Yep.
But it's got more to it than just the lemon. It's got I don't know. It's got kind of an Aleppo pepper kind of thing going on.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it, with almost that Aleppo pepper flavoring. Okay,
we're done with this, right?
Yes, that's going to go and sit. And I'm just going to show you all the one that I have for comparisons. This has been sitting since overnight, so you can see the color difference. Very different. The red onion, like many other red fruits and vegetables, they do kind of leak their color and deepen when they're marinated.
But it's the vinegar that's oxidizing
yes, it's fermenting. Yeah,
oxidizing the color of this. So that's why this color is so much. In some ways, it's much more pretty. I think it's got the really nice.
Yeah, this is the other one's more purple, and this one is much more red.
Yeah, it's like raspberry or something.
Okay, now the fun part. We're gonna smack our cucumbers. And what does that mean? It's, I think, a very seems like a British term, don't you? Smack it.
Okay,
no.
Show me what.
So you're gonna need for this recipe probably about 5 cucumbers this size. You can also make this with regular store, regular cucumbers that are
seeds inside.
Yeah, seeds inside and thicker skin. If you do that, I would definitely peel. We are not going to peel these because these are the very lovely thin seedless cucumbers.
Any cucumber that has a nice thin skin, you can use the skin. And if the cucumber doesn't have a thin skin, get it off.
Yep. Okay. So this is a great way to work out your frustrations. Just cut them and then smack them. Just whack them. This one's a little harder because it's a double.
Yeah, it's a double, right.
But with a good French knife, and they're split. Okay. And then if this were one with seeds, you would want to just kind of scoop out the inside. We don't need to do that because they really are seedless. And then you're just going to rough chop, smash, and rough chop into chunks like that. And then they go into the bowl. Okay.
Okay.
So go for it.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm going to grab one on this side. We're going to each do a couple. And
Okay.
I've got a serious cleaver here.
Oh yeah, that one will really work.
There we go. Look at that. In one fell swoop.
Well,
she
you got the right
smashed
knife.
them.
Whoop.
You want this one?
Let me try it because
Give me the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Look
Yep.
at that. Yay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You don't want to turn it into complete mush, right?
Yeah, right.
You need chunks. You need the texture of the chunks.
Okay.
And this really does it brings out a different sweetness to the cucumber. It's kind of an interesting concept.
Well, I can tell you that I don't make the salad. I've made it before. But it breaks my heart to do it, so I don't make it anymore.
You don't like seeing your cucumbers get all smushed up.
When I've grown cucumbers and they look really beautiful, I just don't like them. Don't like to do this to them. I guess that's really what it is.
Oh, you just are
I'm just such a soft heart when it comes to my vegetables.
You really do. Okay.
So what I do is I just cut them up into pieces, and I don't worry about smashing them.
Yeah.
And that works out fine. But there's something to be said for this style, and so
yeah. Well, yeah, fair enough. Okay, so when you're doing this, what you want to do at this point is you want to salt these, and with just a little bit of salt, just a little.
Where did it go?
What's that? The salt?
Yes.
I don't know. You moved it. No, I moved
right
it.
there.
Just a tad. I'm going to salt it while Adrienne works on the next item. So you would salt these and set them in a colander, or if you wanted to, or you can just leave them in the bowl to juice off for a bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to just see. It may actually start juicing in the next couple of minutes, but otherwise
it does. It goes pretty quickly.
We're going to just set it to the side. So Adrienne is now working on some beautiful sliced, very thin sliced radishes. And that's going to give, again, some color and a different form of crunch. And even depending on if the radishes are hot or spicy, it could give a level of heat to it. And while she's doing that, I'm going to chop some herbs. As the first recipe, we had a really good run with some fresh oregano and cilantro. On this combination, I would like to use some dill and some mint. And what do you think? Maybe some parsley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would do that.
I think dill and mint are wonderful.
And they complement each other with the parsley, surprisingly enough.
They do. I mean, I think they're just wonderful with cucumbers.
Oh, yeah.
And this is some very pretty mint she has from her garden. I'll pull that out. So let me start with this. Just do some, it doesn't have to be.
How many do we need of these?
Just
3?
a couple.
Okay.
Is that 2, 3? Yeah, I think for the balance.
Should I put them right in?
No, not just yet, because I'm going to let it juice out just for a minute.
Okay.
Here, you want to work on chopping some
I
mint?
will work on chopping some mint. That's a great idea.
And then the presentation for this dish is kind of fun.
So here I am. I'm just taking the leaves off, kind of like what we did with the oregano.
Yep.
And the stem in the middle, of course, is very, very woody. So, well, I wouldn't say very, very woody. Compared to wood, it's not woody, but it's a very sturdy stem that is not appropriate to put into a salad like this. It's certainly appropriate to put into a mixture for a vegetable broth, which would be totally fine.
Mint, really?
Yes.
In a broth?
Yes.
I don't know.
Add a little flavor there, and you mix all sorts of things, and the mint goes right in there with it.
So meanwhile, I have pulled the thicker stems out of my dill. Most of it has been, I will show you my board here. Most of it has been finely chopped, but I've got some pieces that as I got further down into the herb, I got a little bit more stems than I wanted.
Okay, how much do you want of the mint? You want more?
A little bit more, maybe.
Okay, let's do another one.
Okay.
Looks like this is one of these.
All right. And I'm going to set that off to the side. Okay.
Okay, now.
You're going to work on that, and I will do the, you know what? I think let's switch spots.
Switch spots? Okay.
Just for a moment. Yeah, because I think that will be a nice thing to show you all as I put together the final presentation on this. Okay, so we are going to use, today we are using a yogurt, the labneh. You can use Greek yogurt as well, or instead of, rather, if you prefer. But this is this labneh is used a lot, again, in Middle Eastern cuisines, and the flavor palette is kind of nice with the I love this. I love the labneh with yogurt myself. I think it's a great combination.
It's made with pectin,
Right.
which is a little different.
Give me a spatula, please. Blue spatula. Thank you. So what we're going to do,
I think it's one of the better ways of culturing milk. It's just so refreshing flavored.
yep.
It just really is a wonderful, wonderful product.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to actually smear it on the bottom of your serving platter or your plate. So you want something that's got a little bit of a lip to it. This does not need to go into a bowl, but it should go onto a sort of a deep serving plate.
This is one of the things that Ottolenghi does a lot.
Yes.
Is doing something like this with a spread of some kind, like a hummus or a spread that you make specifically for this.
That's right.
And it kind of it's like it's like a base coat for the end artwork that we're finished.
That's right. So when it comes time,
are you going to drain that?
Yeah, when it comes time to assemble, here's the cucumbers. We have, in fact, probably a good tablespoon of water that's accumulated. So we're going to just pour that off. And then we're going to...
Okay, here I am. I'm going to finish up with this chopping of the herbs.
We're going to add...
doing a lot of them.
Our radishes. We are going to add... let me just set this here. We are going to add some toasted, what I did earlier was to toast a little bit of coriander seed. Okay. And I have that actually toasted and ground. Somebody's giving us thumbs up. Yes. What a wonderful combination. Very unusual, right? So we're going to start by... I've toasted a tablespoon. This is more than a tablespoon. We're going to use half of it right into the salad, and some we'll use as garnish afterwards.
So what that's going to do is when you're eating the salad, you can get a really great crunch of the coriander with everything else. It's just going to blossom in your mouth as you
absolutely
as you eat it, and it's a wonderful way of doing dried herbs or dried spices of any kind. Using the whole seed that's been just smashed a little bit like the cucumber has.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
We're smashing lots of things today. Okay. And that's smashing. Okay. some lemon zest. I love lemon zest. So a teaspoon of that and about a tablespoon of
lemon juice.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit more. And what else are we needing here? I think that does it. We've got, you can also do some garlic in here if you want to, but
come now or later?
No, they'd go now.
Okay, here, I need the herbs. I'm sorry, I said spices, I meant herbs.
The herbs.
Yes.
And all of that. Oh, we didn't do any parsley.
Oh, we didn't.
Let's just add a little bit of parsley into that. You can do that, chop that for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to add in some of our pickled onions. I don't need that much. This is like, I did one fairly medium-sized onion. I had a huge onion and I did most of it. So it was about the equivalent of a medium-sized onion. I'm just going to kind of eyeball for the onion component that I want. And I'm going to leave back the pickle part, the juice part rather. Well, okay, I'll put a drop maybe. That looks good.
Okay, here's some parsley.
Wonderful. Okay, and we're going to mix all that. And I'm going to add another little pinch of salt. There is some in the cucumber, remember, but I did pour off the water, so I'm just going to add a little bit more on there.
Battle of the elbows here. Okay.
It's all beautifully mixed. And this is fabulous just by itself, right? I mean, you could do this just like without adding any yogurt to it. But it's even better.
You could serve the yogurt on the side and have people do whatever, or
sure.
You could even put dollops on top and mix it in.
Sure. Yeah, you could do dollops on top. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go ahead and I've got a dinner plate here, so it's a little bit smaller than I would normally do for a platter. Go ahead and pile some more up in there. How does that go? That
beautiful.
Can you set that over there?
Yes, I can.
Yummy. Okay, and then as a final thing, I'm going to just drizzle some good olive oil on there.
Yeah.
Yep. And another light sprinkle of our toasted coriander. Just a bit on top. And around on the yogurt part. And so there, in this manner, beautiful summer salad. Serve it right away. It will, you can refrigerate it for maybe a half an hour, 45 minutes, but it really kind of needs to be eaten pretty promptly. And then you would just, have yourself a scoop of the yogurt with the cucumbers, and that's sort of the deconstructed version of a tzatziki.
Those cucumbers don't look like they've been.
They don't look like, don't feel bad. They don't look like they were abused at all. They look like they have just been pumped for perfect flavor and texture. So there we have
questions.
Our lovely salads. Any questions?
Grab mine.
Looks delicious. We do have a question. Do you have a recommendation for if people were looking for labneh, where they could start their search?
Any Middle Eastern market will carry the labneh, and probably carry 2 or 3 or 4 different kinds, different purveyors. So
they probably have the right kind of pectin too, I would imagine. But the labneh definitely they would have.
Yeah,
if you were trying to make your own.
Oh, that I've never. No. It's so much better. I find it. I mean, I know homemade is great, but I haven't not ventured down that road. I do other.
It's pretty widely available.
I don't know if Trader Joe's carries it, and some. I don't think major supermarket. No, that's not true. I think some of the main supermarkets, Harris Teeter may actually carry it. They have an interesting selection of kind of international foods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Someone is wondering if they can use zucchini instead of cucumber for this salad.
Oh, I think that would actually be great. That's a really good idea. You would want to find some of the smaller, more babies, thinner zucchinis rather than the really big ones, because those tend to be a little more seedy. But same concept. Smash them if there's a seed pocket that's in there, remove it. But yeah, I think that would be delicious.
Sure.
Absolutely delicious.
And someone is wondering, how long can your quick pickled onions keep?
Oh, I would say up to a week would be fine. But keep them either in a jar or a good, Tupperware sealed container.
Yeah.
Good to know. And someone is wondering if they wanted to substitute, they don't like the taste of radishes. Do you have any recommendations for a substitute?
You could do not as flavorful, but you could do some crunch from some jicama root, which
peppers.
is, yes, you could do peppers.
Get some of the smaller peppers and cut them in small rounds. That would add a nice color and sweetness too.
Yep, bell pepper, sweet bell pepper.
Yeah, the jicama I think is a good idea. And you could put maybe, I don't know, would you put any fruit on there?
I mean, you get into a different
thing.
You
get into a
I know you've been on a melon kick right now.
Yes, I know.
Melon and everything. But yeah, I would say think about what you want. Something that would substitute for the crunch would be a jicama, even though it doesn't have a lot of flavor the way a radish does. But bell peppers, certainly you could do some pieces of bell pepper.
Thank you. And this person says that they have someone in their family that's allergic to things in the cashew family, which includes sumac.
Oh.
And do you have any recommendations for a substitute?
So the common deferral from sumac is lime zest. And that, I think that would work fine in the pickles.
You might want to put a little salt in there too.
Yeah, which we did.
Well, yeah, but you might put a little bit more salt in there.
But if we're thinking of another, lime would give you that kind of citrusy flavor that the sumac provides.
And then pepper, black pepper.
Yeah, and a little black pepper.
Yeah, that would work.
Fabulous. And if someone was looking to grow their own cucumbers for the salad, do you have any recommendations for types of cucumbers or any recommendations for growing cucumbers at home?
That's a great question for the master gardener.
Get them fairly early if you can. You want to get them in the ground by May 1st. It's
as a plant, not a seed.
As a plant, right? Not as a seed, right? If you want to grow them from seed, you don't want to go ahead and get them started indoors. But the types of cucumber would be, we love the burpy burpless. We love the Armenian types, or I think that's what maybe there's some newer ones that have a different, but the long skinny ones. These Persian types also. These Persian types look to me like they were grown under cover, and not in a greenhouse, but just with a cover over it. So you don't want to get into that. That's too much. Make sure you provide some support that they can grow on. Otherwise, they're going to go all along the ground, and you probably won't see half of them because they'll be buried underneath all that foliage, underneath the plant itself. So what else do we have to tell them?
Well, I grew burpless slicing cucumbers this year. And on my sister's expertise recommendation, as I've done the last couple of years, I put them in a very large tomato cage, and they love that.
They love that.
Now,
they love being a big
I
cage.
will say this year I didn't have quite the success with the cucumbers as I have in years past. I just didn't yield, but I always go for the seedless or the burpless varieties.
Yeah, and if you get them in early, you're going to have a lot more luck.
And they love being in that cage. That really keeps them contained. They just absolutely love climbing in there. So it's a great way when you don't have a lot of planting space. It's a great way just to tuck them in the corner, stick them in the cage.
Perfect. Well, those were all of our questions for today. Thank you so much for showing us 2 absolutely delicious recipes. Those recipes are in the chat, and they're also in the handout section in the apps button. Yeah, let's take another look at these gorgeous salads.
Yeah, I can flip you back onto our overhead so we can get one last close up. There we go. Adrienne, you want to show yours off?
Put this one down there.
Looking
Yeah.
absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it's just an incredible array of colors for summer. No excuses about not knowing what to do with summer veggies, and really just fill yourself. You don't need anything else. A nice piece of crusty bread and you're good to go.
Have a great rest of the summer and eat well.
Thank you both so much, and thank you everyone who attended today.